Hey there, everyone. Thor here. The AVGN 28-year anniversary episode came out yesterday, so I really just wanted to talk about it because I can't believe the nerd's been around for 20 years. Congrats to the nerd for being relevant this long and keeping it going through all the ups and downs. And there's been plenty of bulls, especially with the product now. And I'm gonna jump into that a bit and kind of jump into what I really liked about going when he goes back. So let's go back to the past. So I'm just gonna start off with how and when I got into the nerd. I was working web developer for New York State government. It's as exciting as it sounds. We had Wi-Fi, so I started getting into YouTube more there, mostly because of the Game Grumps. I followed Aaron Hansen from Newgrounds. That's kind of how I got into YouTube. Was I watched the original year of the Game Grumps, and it recommended a bunch of gaming channels to me. Some I still follow, not all. Some are long gone. To the AVGN once was recommended, and I believe the first episode I saw was, I think it's number 63, Mylan's Secret Castle, which, is an okay episode and not a game I played. Pretty funny. How old was I? I think that was 2010, 2011, somewhere around 2021. And I just started binging the episodes from there. I went back and he played a bunch of games that I recognized. I played as a kid, like the Friday the 13th one jumped out at me since, Friday the 13th was a game I had as a kid that I could never figure out till I watched a video later to see what you need to do. Now you can beat it in like 5 minutes. Probably like more like 10, but I think the tool system runs like 3 minutes. So from there, I watched every episode as they released. I still do. I still get excited when a nerd episode comes out. They're all varying quality. I don't love all of them. Like from the recent ones, I didn't really get into I know it was a couple years ago, but the Fear and Loathing one didn't really hit with me. The Final Fantasy VI one I loved. I really like when he gets into games I think he really likes or has big meaning to him. Like Castlevania, it's launched his whole career, so that Castlevania retrospective is one of my favorite. The Castlevania retrospective is one of my favorite nerd episodes. I know they're four different, but I'm gonna call it one. Definitely in my top 10. Maybe I'll do a top 10 at the end or in a separate video. Top 10 nerd episodes. That could be fun. It's gonna be hard. There's a lot of them. A lot of the episodes are like up and down. They'll release one, I'm just like, like the horse one, it's like whatever. Then they'll release one like 20 years of AVGN. I like how when he goes back to the old format, just like the Indiana Jones way he did recently, where they try to recreate his old room. That was kind of cool. It's definitely changed since Screenwave's gotten more heavily involved, and I know there's a lot of contention, especially if you read like the Reddit, Cinemassacre Truth, and all that. I'm not on there too often, but I check in now and then. So, of course, he starts with Castlevania 2. That's where the whole career started. That's where the nerd started. Of course, the episode had to start that way, and I think it's a good look back at it. He has touched that game multiple times, so they get through it pretty quickly. He's done a few episodes where he goes back to games and kind of expands on them because he feels like he didn't do it justice the first time. I like when he revisits the Castlevania 2, it's always a go back. Another one is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I never played that game, but I can definitely relate to having an older game like Friday the 13th that you had limited games back then, so you played what you had, and that's what makes the nerd so relatable. My friends and I, all of us had like 10 games each, and we would let each other borrow some all the time. There's always one friend in the group that had every game, or you'd rent them. We didn't really rent. I kind of just borrowed and traded with friends and acquired games. There was a big card shop near where I grew up, and they used to sell Super Nintendo games, and sometimes my dad would buy some. Playing through Final Fantasy 2 and 3 were two of the best experiences on Super Nintendo. We played Legend of Zelda, Illusion of Gaia, Earthbound, and I really like the nerd episode of Earthbound. That's one of my favorites. So in this episode, he doesn't show his face at all, just him talking over video. It really brought me back to the early days of YouTube where almost everyone did that. They're doing gaming news or whatever. I'd say early days in the middle 2010s probably. There's still some Let's Play. I mean, the Game Grumps still just do their voices over gameplay, and they have their audience that works for them. It's not going to work for everybody. This is another episode where he revisits some older videos he did. The expansion's really good. How he talks about the enhanced ports of like Rondo of Blood. All the improvements that are there. None of them are as good as like the arcade, but nowadays the hardware is a lot better, and you can get a lot better games. So I'm glad he gave it a second chance. Definitely a good game. The one on Sega is really good too, and I'm glad he talked about that a bit. I know he really likes Super Castlevania 4. And Symphony of Night's the one I probably like the best. So I'm kind of glad he talked about that. Playing as Richter is great. I definitely agree with it. And he's much less angry in these episodes, and that's okay. He's just talking about something he loves, and you got to appreciate that. I'm always a big fan of the episodes where he's just getting into what he likes. He does talk about the frustrating aspects of each game, the load time, the issues with them, because nothing's perfect. It's just like the Earthbound Final Fantasy VI episode. Amazing games. There's definitely some parts that are a little kind of a pain. What's nice though is when we re-release them, a lot of times there's quality of life updates, and it's really good. AVGN this year has been it's been really up and down this year. I feel like every other episode is a hit or miss. I mean, what I love about this stuff is it's like comfort food. I sometimes just throw this on while I'm going to bed and just let it play. I got the Blu-rays, I'll throw them in. I usually go back to the older stuff. Sometimes I get the newer stuff, I'll skip a few episodes or skip ahead to the ones I really like Final Fantasy VI, Earthbound, Doom. Very uneven, and I know it's not just him anymore, and I think that's a big part of it. Was mostly him and Mike. I think it was a different feel. There's also a different time. People, change, and he's got kids now, so that makes things way more difficult. I get why some fans get frustrated, but I'm glad he's still doing movie reviews, like he did the Godzilla review and Ghostbusters. I like his reviews. I really miss the old days of when he went all out for Monster Madness. He does like a mini version or a shortened version, but the good thing is they have all the stuff up there. You can go back and still watch the old Monster Madness or Jason Mike Mondays. I go back to those. The Neighbor Nerds, it's okay. It's not like James and Mike, though. Forward to James and Mike Mondays. I wish they would maybe bring that back or do another. I jump into Mike's streams from time to time again. He plays some hard games, so it's fun to watch. I appreciate that as a retro streamer myself. That's the thing, though, is I know a lot of people don't like how the channel has changed or how it's evolved, but there's still good ones that come out. I don't think he'd still be doing it if it was just him, because they have all these editors and stuff. It's kind of lost the very independent feel that I think it had back in the day. I'm still a fan, and I'll keep watching as long as the nerd keeps putting out videos. I'm not gonna like them all, but sometimes you get gems like this or Final Fantasy VI, and they're all worth watching at least once. Some of them is definitely just once, but that's fine. And your favorite show, not every episode's good. It happens. I want to say congrats to the nerd for hitting 20 years. I look forward to however much longer he goes. Maybe not do another nerd movie, but do like a horror short or something. His Halloween episodes for the nerd are great, so hopefully he gets to do that, because I know that's his passion, and you want someone to be able to do what they're passionate about, and he's been doing the nerd for so long, so I'm sure there's other things he wants to do. I wish him luck in that, and comment below with your favorite AVGN episode. Thanks for checking it out. I'll see you in the next one. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thor out.